Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE Backlash 2016 live review. John, we always like to talk about search it, skip it, or buy it. It's a little bit of a grading system that I invented a few years ago while you were on your little hiatus. And I've got to say, this might be the first time I'm saying this for a WWE show in 2016. I give Backlash a buy it.
I completely agree with you, partner. And you know a show is good when we do the rating at the start of the show. Because I feel like historically we always do them at the end. But I'm going to say right now, this was a buy it, at worst, the strongest search it I've ever given for any pay-per-view. I gotta tell you, man, Backlash for the first SmackDown exclusive show, this sent a huge message to Raw. If we are going to keep up that whole kayfabe rivalry, Clash of Champions better bring it, man, because Backlash came out with guns loaded. Horrible. What was that?
I said, don't worry, it's not actually going to bring it. It's going to fail horribly.
And, you know, it might. I'm going to wait and see what they do, but I'll tell you, Backlash, it's so funny because a show like Backlash, when you come out of the draft, and we're talking about how handicapped SmackDown was, Backlash shouldn't have been as good as it was given all those handicaps, and yet the feuds that were highlighted on this show, I feel like were all written well. We got some great emotional payoffs on this show. And even if, like, not every match was a technical barn burner, I have to say, from a storytelling perspective and from a booking perspective, this show easily gets an A. The only knock I would give it is the outcome of one match, which we'll get to. But, yeah, this show was easily like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10 for me. Just fucking stellar.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yep, yeah, absolutely. And really, I feel like the overall vibe of the show was feel-good moments, because the first thing that we got was Becky Lynch winning the championship, and then we got later on in the night Heath Slater winning his contract. So those were two really great feel-good moments. It's really cool to see. And the funny thing is, the two people that were the feel-good moments are both gingers. So it was the night of the gingers, and they kicked ass, and they did really well. And, hey, Kane won a match tonight as well, and he's a ginger. So that's 3, baby.
Yeah, for the type of people that apparently have no souls, they certainly projected a lot of feels tonight.
The only ginger tonight that fought that failed, which is so apropos, was Mojo Rawley.
Yeah. Oh, man, we'll get to them later. But this show, I'm telling you, man, like everything they did on this show more or less worked. And even the stuff that we might have a gripe with, again, I can see like an escape for that as well. Like Bray Wyatt losing to Kane tonight, since you already said like Becky Lynch won her match and Slater won his match. You know, I know that's going to be frustrating a lot of people, certainly frustrated the fuck out of me. But it was Orton's involvement, and he was just returning an earlier attack from Wyatt, so they're kind of doing this tit-for-tat kind of thing, which hopefully tells me, because to me, then you're putting eggs in your basket, that whatever Orton's dealing with, he's going to have it cleared up by the time No Mercy rolls around, and I hope so, because that's still a match that I'm very much looking forward to. And, I mean, you know what? If they're going to build up Kane, I actually trust SmackDown to have some kind of a payoff, whether he goes heel and a babyface takes that momentum, or he stays face and a bigger bully comes in the yard and kind of imposes his will on Kane. And maybe that'll be Baron Corbin. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, even that I can forgive to a point, because I got to see the forest for the trees. Yeah, Backlash hit it right out of the park.
Yeah, it definitely did. So let's get into the actual match card. We did start things off with our 6 women's elimination 6-pack challenge WWE SmackDown Women's Championship match. This was a pretty freaking solid match, honestly. Like, I've seen matches involving Alexa Bliss and Carmella and Naomi and Natalya and Nikki Bella that have been pretty disastrous. Not necessarily Becky Lynch. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Becky Lynch match.
Right.
Those other women were in this with Becky, and none of them. There was one really bad botch that involved 2 of the worst in-ring performers in this match, Natalya and Naomi. And other than that, this was a pretty flawless match.
Yeah, I love the time that it got, which again, there was a lot of questions. 6-match card, 3-hour show. How do you make it work? And yet it does create beautiful opportunities. Opportunities like giving 6 women fighting for their, a new championship a chance to really go out and shine. I thought this match got a great amount of time. And something else too that I got to give this match credit for, that I'll be honest, I know the WWE touts a women's revolution, but as you and I have said before, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to go out and do it. I didn't know how rushed the eliminations were going to be, but I thought the pacing of the match was great too. I felt like the eliminations came at a good point. Once one happened, they all started to slowly, come together until we got down to the final 2. And yeah, I thought the booking of the match was great. Alexa Bliss was the first one eliminated. Which I guess in a way makes sense.
Also, to talk about that, because it took a while for anyone to even get eliminated. Alexa really stood out in the match prior to her elimination.
Oh yeah, dude, she was going after everybody. And she was doing that like moonsault double knees, which I know there's a name for it, but it's not coming to me right now because I know it's not Twisted Bliss because that's the splash that she does. There's another name for it. But yeah, she was going after everybody, really picking her spots. I thought Carmella did well in this match too. Really, the worst heel in this match was Natalya, because she did things that really made me scratch my head. Like, why would you break up this pin? Or why would you attack your fellow heel? Because there was one point where it seemed like her and Carmella were going to team up on Nikki. And then Natalya just cheap shots Carmella. And so,
literally no reason at all.
Exactly. I really didn't get Natalya, like the psychology she was branded. There just really wasn't any. There was no flow to her or anything. I definitely say, yeah, as far as the heels go, Alexa and Carmella, they definitely picked up Natalya's slack, and I thought they did quite well. And I got to say, too, I loved how they protected Alexa Bliss in a way, because she lost to a top rope blockbuster while in a powerbomb position. I could buy that beating her. It's not like she got caught or anything. And another thing I got to give Smackdown credit to, because while we're doling out praise, let's be honest, you and I were really twiddling our thumbs and really nervous that Nikki Bella coming out in the patriotic attire on 9/11 and all this other stuff. It just seems like it was heavily telegraphing Nikki Bella being the inaugural champion. She didn't even make it to the final 2. I think she made it to the final 3, but then she got caught by Carmella in a roll-up with the tights, and that's what got it. You know what? And I can't believe I'm saying this, and you would owe it all to SmackDown's booking if it does. But this may be a time where a babyface Nikki Bella actually works. Because to know that she's not going to get the title right away, and she is going to have to chase a little bit and deal with Carmella, and probably have to deal with whatever heel, ends up beating Becky, hopefully after a good while, because I want Becky to really enjoy this run, it's going to make Nikki Bella more compelling. And I can't believe these sentences are just falling out of my mouth, but I stand by it. This is what good booking does. By not giving Nikki the belt right away, even though she came back from injury and she has the name brand value, you're looking at her as a babyface long term, and I respect that because I really do think they're going to try hard to garner sympathy. I mean, how did you feel when you look at the big pieces of Becky and Nikki and all those big players? How did you think the handling of this match was?
Yeah, I thought that it was really well done. I really liked how everybody that needed to stand out, that being Alexa and Carmella especially, and also a hint of Naomi. Naomi had some good stuff in here. Would have been better if she and Natalya didn't have that one horrendous botch. But as that happened, I was like, okay, let's just act like that never happened. And now I'm bringing it up again. But yeah, that was bad. But other than that, I felt like Naomi was like the third biggest star of this match behind Alexa and Carmella. Alexa and Carmella really were the standouts of this match because Becky didn't really do much until the very end sequence with Carmella. Nikki had a few moments where she did some cool stuff, but again, she didn't really do that much. Natalya was just the worst as usual. And Naomi had a few standout moments as well, but I really do feel like Alexa and Carmella stood out the most, which is really, they needed to stand out the most because they're the newest faces to the main roster. So they did a really, really good job of highlighting the people that needed highlighting, letting the people that could afford to be in the background stay in the background. And yeah, I feel like the way that this match was kind of worked out, whoever the agent was for this match deserves a bonus for this match, the way that they handled it, because it was great.
And you know what, bro? I think anybody that's a Carmella fan or an Alexa Bliss fan, and particularly with Carmella as a heel, their stock just got assured tonight, because even though they didn't walk away with the championship, their performance was so good when it mattered most. They might have secured themselves future reigns with that championship. You know, it's a slim division as is. I wouldn't really be surprised if everybody, when the time was right and with an appropriate story, because again, SmackDown's really earned my trust with their booking, especially after the show, if everybody got a run with that belt. You know, and I certainly think that Alexa Bliss...
I'd say everyone but Natalya.
Yeah. And even her, though, they might give it to her like they do some veterans, like, oh, thank you for all the years you put in, kind of like they did with Mark Henry with the world title, or this one with that title. Natalya may even get it.
With Mark Henry and Christian, they had never won the world title before in their careers. Natalya's already been Divas champion. She doesn't need another championship.
And that is certainly true. And, you know, honestly, I wouldn't put it on her. And it's not even because Natalya is the worst. But, I mean, if you just look, even if you were to take everything else away that she's done and look at this match when it mattered most, the new kids delivered more than she did, and she's the veteran. You know, there's just no excuse for that to me. So I would keep that belt away from her. But, yeah, I think everybody else and anybody they'd think of adding, like if hypothetically Asuka would come to SmackDown when she gets called up, if they'd get more, you know.
I feel like we've talked about this before. I don't think Asuka is going to end up being called up, quote unquote, ever. I think that she was hired to be an NXT draw. Like, that's why she's in the company.
Right. But, I mean, you get my point, regardless.
I mean, maybe in a few months, Emma would be a very compelling addition to this division, or maybe potentially somebody else. We were talking about Billie Kay maybe being an addition to this division. I don't know, but and it's not that I don't want Asuka on the main roster, because I think she's like the biggest badass among the women and would be an awesome addition to either female roster. But I legitimately think the WWE signed her for NXT and only NXT.
Right. And you know what, though? That notwithstanding, this was a great match, a great first bout for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And again, we talked about with the Universal Championship, you know, back at SummerSlam. First match is always kind of a tone setter. You know, it's what everything else is going to be kind of predicated on. And I thought the match was great. And the outcome, you know, just so happy for Becky Lynch that they're really trusting her with this women's division. And SmackDown, it shows you the difference in booking philosophy, I guess, between SmackDown and Raw. Because with Raw, Seth was the top pick. Seth hasn't even touched that Universal Championship yet. Becky was their first female pick, you know, and I think she was still high, like top 10, and she wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. So, like, her value in the draft is actually translating into in-ring success because she's the first ever women's champion. I think that's so cool.
Observation. You're definitely right on that. Yeah, I don't think she was picked in the top 10, though. I think she was around, like, the 12 to 15-ish range.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but regardless, like
I can tell you. I can actually look it up. Becky Lynch was drafted 14th overall.
Okay, but regardless, though, I think the big story here is she was the first woman SmackDown drafted. So
yeah, that's true.
To go from that to the
they even said, dude, that's the crazy thing. Daniel Bryan even said that they were drafting the best woman, and now she's proven Daniel right by winning the title.
Exactly. So it all comes full circle. Just amazing. Great story. Great story. And Becky definitely deserves it. Finally, the fourth horsewoman gets her due with the championship. Never won the NXT title. Never got to hold the WWE Women's Championship. But now she's the SmackDown Women's Champion. Good shit.
Yeah, and the only one of them left that hasn't won a main roster Women's Championship is Bayley, who is almost definitely going to win the title either before or at WrestleMania 33.
Exactly. Yeah, her time's coming. I ain't even worried about Bayley. So after the match, I mean, Becky does give an emotional speech, like thanking everybody, and just a great moment, man.
Yeah, with Bailey, it's like, oh, you mean you're sending an absolute merch machine and a legitimate female draw up to the main roster? I wonder if she'll ever win the championship.
Yeah, exactly, right? Crazy. So, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, she's good. She's gonna be just fine. Bailey is good. So up next, do you want to move on? Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Versus the Hype Bros, and John. Moments of our live reactions tonight was you just going off on Mojo Rawley, and I just, and more glorious than Bobby Roode's theme song could ever hope to be, and I love you for that. Yes.
I mean, it's like I've said. I mean, I have an intense hatred for failures and people that I feel like don't belong. And I harbor it inside a lot of the day. And I usually save it for moments like this when I can just let it all out. And Mojo just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But can we just take a few steps back and let me just say, I enjoyed this match far more than I probably had any right to, simply because Usos as heel fucking work far better than I even thought they were going to. Like, I thought they were going to.
So good. They really are kind of combining some of the mannerisms of LIJ and the Gorillas of Destiny. They're like, it's like a fusion of those two teams.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, when the Revival come up, they'll be my favorite heel tag team. But right now, it's definitely the Usos. And I love Breezango and all that stuff, but the Usos just got it in one night where we really got to see it. They just so good. And it feels good to be praising them like this.
Entire night, see Becky Lynch, Heath Slater, and AJ Styles triumphant in their respective matches was the Usos sitting in the corner on the turnbuckles like a freaking totem pole. That was awesome.
Dude, the idea that we're both mutually praising the Usos like that, there was a time I didn't know if that day was ever going to come. And
yeah.
They fucking get it, dude. Like, in their match with the Hype Bros, the one thing that stood out to me that they need to be commended for, not a single super kick. They cut that shit out so fast, and they substituted it for, like, chops.
I don't think a single Samoan drop either, to be fair.
Exactly. Nor a splash. They didn't do their splash, and they still might do it, but they'll probably do it.
One submission, dude.
Exactly. Dude. The heel psychology, A fucking plus for the Usos. And let me tell you something. If they do bring back the splash, I guarantee you it'll be like the one they did to Chad Gable where he'll be in a crab and then they do it on the leg. So that'll even be heelish. Like, I feel like they have a fundamental understanding of what they're supposed to be doing out there. And even though they didn't win any championships or have any moments like Becky Lynch, Slater, or Styles tonight, they were fucking standouts. And I'll tell you, if they're going to win the SmackDown Tag Team titles, like, we've been joking, like, it could be just this Tuesday on SmackDown Live or next week. Whenever they win it, I'm fucking ready for the reign. And finally, can I say this too? Usos are so good. Finally, American Alpha is going to have an obstacle. Because I want American Alpha to succeed. And you're not going to succeed as a babyface until you have legitimate opposition. And the Usos proved in one night they can be that opposition and then some. I'm so fucking stoked for that feud, dude, now. It's going to be great.
The way the Usos were working tonight, they kind of did remind me a little bit of the Revival with the isolation of their opponent in their corner and picking apart the limb and the frequent tags and all that stuff. So it's basically like we're almost going to be getting like a different but similar version of Alpha Revival on the main roster.
Yes, dude. Yes. Like, between Breezango, heel Usos, and when the Revival get called up, because SmackDown really does need to be known for its tag teams, and I do think that's an angle they might go for with Raw having cruiserweights. There are going to be so many great heel tag teams on the roster. Oh my God. I get amped up all over again just thinking about it. This match was stellar. I love the psychology from the Usos. To give the Hype Bros some credit, mainly Zack Ryder, who I think really put his back into this match and was really looking sympathetic. I mean, Mojo, to me, I already took a huge shit on him in live reactions. I don't care for him. The funny thing is, I feel like he started to improve a little bit in developmental. That match he had with Joe, his going away match, was one of his best performances. He got called up way too early. It fucking shows to me. He's clearly a football player that hasn't gotten over the fact that he failed in that arena, but I digress. And Zack Ryder, man, tapping out to that. What is it called? Because I know it's not a full Chikara special, but is there a name we can call it?
No. It wasn't. It was closer to a tequila sunrise than anything, like what Conan used to do in WCW.
Right. Okay, then I'm just gonna go with that if you don't mind. And tequila sunrise gets the win.
Single leg Boston Crab.
And I gotta say too, you know what though? No, that bit of commentary I'm gonna save for later. But is there anything you want to say about this match?
I just love that the Usos are heel and that they've gotten some credibility. And honestly, also, I'm going to add to that, honestly kind of feel like this might maybe I'm probably talking on my ass here, because if I'm being realistic, there's no chance of it actually happening. But what are the odds of this giving the WWE the confidence to turn Roman heel? Like, Samoans can work as bad guys, you know?
I mean, dude, I would hope. I would fucking hope. But you know something, though, dude? If Roman doesn't turn, I will say this. Usos being heel, knowing that it turned out this freaking well, is a fine consolation prize. I'll fucking take it. I'll shut up about Roman if the Usos keep doing this kind of work. I loved it. Great outing for these guys.
This also kind of makes me wonder if there's any chance of a trade involving Roman or the Usos so that we can get all three of them on the same brand as heels.
Oh my dude, that fucking faction though. Oh my god.
Especially if you toss Tamina in there.
Yeah, dude.
Nia could be in that faction. Dude, Nia would be amazing in that faction.
Damn right she would. Oh my god, with like the all black kind of aesthetic that they'd be rocking. Oh my god. Dude, they'd run that fucking shit. Oh, why do you do this shit to me? Because that's not happening, though, dude. Like, they are so committed to Roman being babyface. I'd love for that to happen, but we just got to be content right now with the Usos being here, which, believe me, I am more than content with the body of work they put together in just one night. Yeah, man. Fucking, let's fucking do it. Let's get those titles on the Usos, and let's have American Alpha have the chase of their lives. Good shit, man.
I legitimately think the Usos are going to take the titles off of Slater and Rhyno on either this coming SmackDown on Tuesday or the following SmackDown, because the Heath Slater thing, it really does feel like the whole purpose of that was just, okay, we've set ourselves up now. We have to have Heath Slater win. Even if the Usos are more compelling, we'll just put the titles on Slater first and give him this, the kayfabe contract so that he can be on SmackDown. And we don't have to keep this whole storyline going, and we can do different things to get him over or keep him over or whatever. And then immediately they're going to have them, because defenses, Heath isn't going to have the contract stipulation. So their first defense, they can literally just lose the titles to the Usos.
Oh, dude, and you and I already kind of touched on this a bit for preview predictions, but for those that didn't see the video, we can kind of rehash it here. First of all, I completely agree with you about your booking mindset with the Slater-Rhyno title reign. And I think for Slater, because he's been doing such great work as this babyface, I still say I want him to be the one to end Miz's Intercontinental Championship reign. That's how much Slater's grown on me. I feel like
that would be really interesting for sure. I mean, Rhyno pretty much won the match for their team tonight.
Right.
But yeah, like Slater as a singles babyface definitely has, I think, more upside than Slater and Rhyno as a team.
Yes. And here's the thing too, Rhyno, because he's like that big burlier kind of guy to me. I mean, maybe they lose the titles and Rhyno turns on Slater because he, that would be a storyline thread. I did all the work. You just picked up the scraps, and then you'd have Slater eat the pin or the submission from one of the Usos. You do that little mini program. Slater gets the win back from when Rhyno beat him, the first time. Then you have Slater move on, to me, to slowly getting in that Intercontinental Championship territory. SmackDown may not do that, But I just feel like you've got such a great mid-card babyface in Slater. Why not give him that payoff if he can keep up the steam, which that we're going to really see how that pans out. But yeah, man, I definitely think there's greater possibility with those two as single entities than as a tag team. So I completely agree with you there.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think we can move on from this match, talk about our third match of the night, which, nice transition. We can actually talk about The Miz now that we're done talking about Heath Slater. Miz versus Ziggler for the IC title.
You know what, bro? I feel like I've been talking a lot for the first two matches. I want you to take the reins on this one. What did you think of this match?
I thought this was a surprisingly good match. I think we really kind of know that with any Ziggler match, there's kind of a baseline for how good it's going to be at worst. But I feel like this was more kind of in like the upper echelon of Ziggler matches, like top or so. This was a really solid match. The Miz mocking Daniel Bryan's old offense was amazing, and I'm so glad you caught onto it when you did, because I never would have otherwise. The corner drop kicks, the surfboard. I'm surprised he didn't go for a cattle mutilation, but we already saw that earlier in the night from Naomi, so maybe that was the tribute there. Really, really well done. And I feel like Dolph wasn't exceptional on the Dolph Ziggler scale of matches, but The Miz was, and that's what made this match as good as it was.
I love that The Miz is able to keep the pulse of that talking smack promo and his just bitterness and animosity, like his very contentious relationship with Daniel Bryan, going by infusing moves from Bryan's repertoire into his own. I thought that was next level heel work. I think Miz has hit his stride, and he's been riding that stride for the last several months. Maurice is amazing with him. And I think what works, and, I'm hoping maybe Raw or the higher-ups just in general in WWE would get it. I think when you're able to let your hair down and have a good fucking time with what you're doing, good stuff is going to come. These two are married. I think they enjoy being with each other on the road, doing stuff like this, and it fucking shows. They work as a great tandem together to keep that Intercontinental Championship with The Miz. And this was a great match. And now, this could go one of two ways. Because you called it, partner. You gave me credit for my Bryan observation. I got to give you credit for this. You said, I think even before the bell, that there was going to be a screwy finish that was going to allow Ziggler that opening to claim a rematch for No Mercy. Now, I'm cool that happened because Maurice sprayed in Ziggler's eyes. Then, of course, he was susceptible to the skull-crushing finale. And the rest, as they say, is history. But now we got to ask ourselves, what's the more interesting story? Miz retains at No Mercy, and we still leave it open to that, silhouette challenger, who's going to step up next. And in my mind, doing a little bit of fantasy booking, Ziggler turns heel. Or do we give the strap to Ziggler? Now, obviously, I'd opt for the former because I'm loving Miz as Intercontinental Champion.
Or option C, we give the title to Ziggler and he turns heel with the title.
Ooh, look at you with your mergers. I could dig that.
Honestly, though, I think that Miz retains and Ziggler turns heel in the weeks leading up to Survivor Series.
That's personally what I would prefer, because no disrespect to Ziggler, but we've already seen what he can do with the Intercontinental Championship, and he does fine work with it. But I don't want to see him on that mountaintop again. Really,
I could honestly even see after No Mercy, I could even see it for Cesaro to SmackDown, that trigger being pulled, and Cesaro being the Miz's next challenger.
I could see that. I mean, they already have an established history over the Intercontinental title. Why not resume it and have Cesaro get that big win? Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from.
Cesaro is the kind of dude that I could actually imagine beating Miz in his first attempt.
Exactly. And, look, to me, it's either Cesaro in a trade, which I'd be cool with, Slater after a very emotional story being told, like, I've always wanted to be Intercontinental Champion and I've got a job on SmackDown, but I need gold because that's, more money for my family and I'm tired of you running your mouth. Or Or, and I know this is the least likely to happen because I think they'd wanted to go on a babyface with how long Miz has been holding it now and bragging about it. Baron Corbin wins in a multi-man match by pinning somebody other than Miz, like Apollo Crews or something.
Yeah, I would be down for that too. But I think, honestly, I think we might be past that point.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking about with Corbin because he beat Apollo Crews on the pre-show tonight, which I didn't even watch, if I'm being honest. I know
this might sound like a little bit too far planning in advance for WWE, but maybe with the Smackdown writing team, I could be hitting the nail on the head here. I feel like they're writing Corbin to build him up slowly so that he is primed to take the title off of whoever takes the title off of The Miz.
Right. Which, hey,
he kind of gets slow built to the point that by the time that beats The Miz for the IC title is ready to drop the belt, Corbin is in his prime of over and evilness.
Dude, to me, Corbin is one of those guys right now where the ascent is slow, I think, but I think either at the end of this year or very early 2017, we're going to be talking about Baron Corbin in a championship context as a champion. I look at it as an inevitability, dude. I can't see it as any other outcome. And
I can even see as early as like Royal Rumble Corbin being Intercontinental Champion.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you 150%. I can't think of any other outcome. But right now, though, the Intercontinental Championship is in more than capable hands. Miz has been killed. And you know what's funny is he's been Intercontinental Champion so many times now, but he finally got a reign that stands out. Because all those other reigns to me, I think, are so forgettable. I'm going to remember this one when it's over. That just shows the quality of work he's been doing. This match, from a booking perspective and everything else, was great. In ring, yeah, I'd say it was pretty stellar too. I think maybe it went on a little too long, but it had to, again, because of the card disadvantages and the whole, structural issues. But yeah, great outing here.
Yep. All right. Well, do you remember which match was after this? Whether it was Wyatt, Kane, or Slater and Rhyno Usos?
I thought, I thought it was Wyatt Kane.
I did too. I actually have it in that order in my description. I just wanted to make sure that it was, double confirmation. So let's talk about this. Really, in my opinion, this is the most skippable match on the card, the worst match on the card, the only match that actually made me angry on the card.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything like in depth that you want to say before I give my review? Because I thought I'd give you the space for this one too. Like,
no,
Bray Wyatt Kane.
It's kind of the match itself wasn't horrible, but it wasn't particularly good either. I would say the biggest issue was that it felt like it went on for way too long, and I think that really is the product of just having such a small match card, only 6 matches. They really would have been better off not having any matches on the pre-show and bumping Corbin Crews to the main show and using that time to shorten this.
Yes. To me, this match was never going to succeed. Even if those guys busted their asses, I think everybody in the back of their minds would have been like, I came here for Orton Wyatt. I mean, hell, I was even thinking that. I wasn't even in attendance. I was just watching on the network.
Yeah.
I will give the guys credit for this, okay? And especially Bray. I feel like they tried out there. They knew it was a shit situation. They added the no-holds-barred situation to try and accentuate whatever positives they had and conceal any negatives they were dealing with, of which they were in abundance, I'm sure. And, I mean, the highlight of the match to me, and this just shows you what kind of star Bray is when he creates a memorable moment even in a shit situation, when he brings Kane over to the announce tables, gets him set up, does the Orton pose, and then I don't know if Bray meant for this to be caught or not, but he gives just kind of this shrug like, whatever, and then he does the senton. That just seemed like, I know the Bray character, and the Orton pose was fine. It's the shrug that got me. I don't even really feel like that was Bray Wyatt, just the guy playing Bray Wyatt. Yeah, exactly. And that was a great moment. And then we get, to the rest of the match. Bray kicking out of one chokeslam makes sense. Kane's an older competitor. That chokeslam's been diminished over the years, whatever. Then it seems like...
I mean, my whole thing is that I think that originally predicted Orton to win. So even though Kane doesn't have the credibility of Orton, I think that Orton costing Wyatt this title sort of achieves a similar result to what Orton beating Bray clean on this show would have achieved, and that's setting up Bray to get his revenge on Orton at No Mercy.
Right. And that's where I agree with you.
That's going to happen. I still think that as long as Orton gets cleared by No Mercy, I still think Bray is going to beat him in that match, and I definitely think that match is going to happen there. Then, because I've been saying now since we did preview predictions, that I think Bray or Dean and AJ have their rematch. I think Bray is going to challenge AJ for the title.
Right. And, that very well could happen. I just, it does sting because I'm still waiting for this company to really see what the real value of Bray is, not what they perceive. Because I thought you really had commentary of the night on live reactions when you laid out WWE's perception of Bray. He's like our Undertaker. He can take these losses and it'll be okay. I wish that were true. I wish Bray's stock was that high, but I don't really think you've booked him that way consistently to get him in that position. I still think Bray is a fucking gem. I'll go to bat for Bray 9 times out of 10. I fucking love what the guy does, but he's just not there yet. I mean, and yet, you know what though? Curse him, because when he does anything remotely awesome, like I'm thinking back right now to when he walked up to Triple H and he brushed his hand on Triple H's world title when he was world champion at the time, and I get shivers just thinking about it. Like, that's fucking Bray Wyatt. That's what he should be doing. He should be approaching, whether it's AJ, because I highly doubt Ambrose getting the belt back, so I am just going to say AJ. He should be approaching AJ Styles, even though he's a heel, and brushing his hand on his title saying, yeah, you're next. I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for that championship. But I don't know, man. When they book Bray to consistently lose, I don't know how they can make it happen. And, Kane does get the win. I'm still hyped as fuck for Orton Wyatt at No Mercy. But tonight, yeah, Kane gets the win. And really, again, another positive that I can try and take away from it, putting my faith in SmackDown, build up Kane for some kind of a payoff. Either have somebody come and knock him off his perch or something, because, you can't let all these wins go to waste, and you can't let all these segments of his dominance and everything go to waste. So we'll see what they do with it.
All right. So then we had our 5th match of the night, which was the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between Heath Slater and Rhyno and the Usos. The Usos really shone in this match, I thought. They were great. Heath Slater, good as a babyface. He has pretty freaking good fire,
Oh, dude. Absolutely. I'm thinking Heath as this babyface, because I think Heath, even when he was a heel, always had a certain likability to him. I mean, come on, how are you not going to crack up, smile, and laugh when he comes in the ring with Rusev dressed like Uncle Sam? Ding, ding, you son of a bitch. And,
that was legendary.
Exactly. Like, I think Heath has always had the potential to be like that comedic babyface. And I'll tell you something. I don't do comedy baby faces. I didn't care much for Santino. I don't care much for Golden Truth now. Heath is the best thing they've produced in that category, because I don't think the comedy never makes me want to punch myself through my own face. And that's really a testament to how great Heath is. So
I was thinking and Macho Mandel, but they weren't really. They were only together for 2 weeks, and before then, I felt like Axel was more of a heel.
Right. But, match was solid. Usos continue the great heel work. But also the trend of Slater and Rhyno. Rhyno coming in, hitting the filibuster, and for those that might be confused, that's what we're calling Rhyno's gore now. Because he is running for office and it's a political term. So he gets the filibuster. Heath drapes his arm over, and that's how we get the win. They are the first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Heath has secured himself a job. He could drop that belt on Tuesday, which just might happen, as you and I have been talking, and he'd still be secure with a job. I'm just curious, though, with the way they've been booking Slater and Rhyno tag team matches, where Slater can come in and he doesn't get totally bitched out, but he's still dependent on Rhyno. Like, is Rhyno going to turn on Slater at any point, or is it going to be an amicable break? Like, they have options, you know? I just don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, they do have options, but I feel like it's not going to end poorly. I feel like this union is going to end with like them losing the titles, and then Rhyno goes back to Detroit to run for
Right.
whatever the state representative. Like, it's not going to be like a blow up and one of them turns on the other or whatever. It's just going to be amicable and whatever. By the way, those of you that wonder why we use the filibuster in politics is when you do something over and over again until everybody gives up, and that's basically what the gore is.
Yeah, he will go for that shit. He misses it once, he's like, that's cool. I'm just going to keep going for it till I get it. And
and even though I was really vague, a filibuster more specifically is when you just talk and talk and talk and talk in the hopes of getting people to change their minds in Congress.
Exactly. And
so yeah, that's what a filibuster is for those of you that don't know, and that's what the connection is for those of you that did know but didn't know what the connection was. John, aside from just more praise of the Usos because they've been so good now that they're heels, do we have anything else left to say about this tag title match?
No, we don't, bro, which only leaves one big thing left, if I'm not mistaken.
The WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles, the poster boys of Backlash this year.
Brother, I have a lot I want to say about this match, but I don't want to be a commentary hog, so I'm going to let you have the floor first. What did you think of this main event?
This was a really good match. I don't know if it was better than AJ Cena, but it was definitely up there. It was in that realm, and to me, this was at worst the second best WWE match of the year, if not the best WWE match of the year. And the reason that that's significant is because both of the top two are AJ Styles matches that have happened within the last 3 weeks.
Dude, you know what though? Do you have any other thought? Because again, I have a lot I want to let out. Like any specific moments you want to mention in this match? All right, man.
Freaking go! I'll interrupt you if I feel the need to. Hopefully, I won't need to. But if I feel like I really need to say something, I'll speak up and cut you off and say what I need to say.
I just got to start my portion of the review by saying it was funny at SummerSlam when everybody was giving shit for the Universal Championship and Seth Rollins and Mick Foley came out in the aftermath and said, oh, it's not what a championship looks like. It's how hard the guys fight for it that gives it meaning. Well, if that's the case, and I can agree with them, this WWE Championship looked like a matter of life and death to both of these guys tonight. I fucking love the intensity in this match. Both these guys wanted it so fucking bad. And again, you had a great point on live reactions tonight. You have great points all the time. What the fuck am I talking about? But you said what makes Ambrose such a great champion is when he's willing to play the bully in the big matches. And I agree with you because when he's willing to play the bully, to me, that doesn't show, even though I think it kind of is in a point, that he's like working a crowd or whatever, because this crowd was very pro AJ tonight. I think more in a kayfabe sense, it shows these are the lengths I'm willing to go because I love being WWE champion. I need to be WWE champion.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's really just him basically saying that, you know what, I acknowledge that this opponent is on a higher level than the ones I've faced before, so I need to step my game up and I need to stoop to levels a little bit lower than what people might expect of me.
Dude, I've been saying from the beginning of Ambrose's title reign, he had such a Harley Race vibe to me. And again, I make that connection from one of my favorite promos in wrestling ever, when Harley Race was NWA champion and he's looking in the camera and he's telling Ric Flair, you think you're the cock of the walk, but I'm the NWA world champion. And he just had this look and this conviction in his words. Like, if you even try to pry one of my fingers off of this championship, all 10 of yours are coming off and being lodged up your ass. Like, that's what Harley Race conveyed to me, and that's what Dean Ambrose conveys to me in his promos, which is why I was all down with his title reign. And then in a match like this, those words carry fucking weight when you have a match like this. So I just want to give all the praise to Ambrose because I think he's been unnecessarily crapped on by a lot of people lately. And again, I respect all sorts of opinions. Don't get me wrong. I just disagree with them. I think Ambrose, his title reign is going to go down as one that was underappreciated in certain aspects. But then to get to AJ, let's talk about AJ Styles. Dude.
And let's clap while we do it.
Dude, I'm so fucking pumped. Yeah, fucking AJ Styles. 8 months, dude. Hasn't even been in the company a full year yet. And had a stellar debut at Rumble. Crowd was so into him. Had a great series of matches with Jericho. I know you and I had our gripes with the feud, as did a lot of people, but still, like, AJ left his heart out there. His matches with Reigns were fucking great. I mean, even though we knew the outcome. Then the Cena feud, which, I mean, speaks for itself. That was so fucking well done. And then the WWE Championship, which was preceded by a huge win at SummerSlam over John Cena. I mean, AJ Styles, to talk about a proven commodity, that doesn't even begin to cover it. The guy is 39 years old, and I still feel like even at this rate, when he should be slowing down, is still one of the best entities in the wrestling world right now. Unfucking real, dude. I mean,
you're not gonna,
yeah.
Like, look at like guys like Jericho. Jericho in his prime was a high flyer. He would do the lion salt in almost every match. He would come off the top ropes a lot. He's still, like, if he comes off the top ropes nowadays, it's for like a missile drop kick or like a crossbody or a sledge rather than something fancy. And you don't really see him do the lion salt very often anymore. Maybe like 3 or 4 times a year.
Right.
Is like at that age that you would expect him to be winding down. But tonight we saw him do a springboard 450.
Dude, and here's the thing. If anybody's earned a right to slow down, it would be AJ fucking Styles. You're talking about a guy that when he was in TNA was working Ultimate X matches and 6 Sides of Steel matches and all these crazy fucking matches. Then he goes to New Japan, keeps putting on clinics. The guy doesn't know a speed less than 250 miles per hour. And I'm so glad, though, that it's one of those stories where it actually does pay off. Because we talk about the guys like Ziggler or this one or that one, where, yeah, I know Ziggler's a former world champion, but the reigns were so fucking forgettable. I'm just glad AJ has got to have this ascent to a major world championship. And I think he'll actually have an enjoyable reign. I hope. I mean, he took some nasty bumps in here, like one spot, the slingshot on the apron into the steel ring post. AJ's head cracked that ring post. That was probably the one moment where I was legitimately concerned for AJ. I'm like, please, dear God, don't you fucking dare tell me that's a concussion right now, because that looked nasty. They go to the outside. Ambrose with the follow. They even drop kicked AJ hard on the outside. That was another thing too. He got all caught up in the ropes. Ambrose didn't give a shit. And then he tosses him on the outside and just takes the fight to him. Like, Ambrose's aggression was great. AJ was on point with the heel work, working over the leg for the calf crusher spot, which I felt like was another great spot. And then and then this is where SmackDown works, and this is where SmackDown is next fucking level, right? Because 9 times out of 10, ref bumps are going to annoy the shit out of me. Welcome to the 10. Welcome to the 10th time, because I felt like this was done perfectly. The ref wasn't out like, oh, God, will I ever recover? He was more likely stunned, I think would be a better word. And then AJ low blows Ambrose, and I hate to say it, but nuts have been a big part of this story, between AJ being straddled on the ropes and then giving it back to Dean by kicking him in the balls on the last SmackDown Live. So low blows and crotching and all that other stuff has been a big part of this story, as weird as it is to say, and it factors into the title change. Like, that to me, it's so simple, and yet you see how effective it is. Like, thank you, SmackDown. It's so nice that Lucha Underground isn't alone anymore with their good booking, and they're still king.
You're kind of putting SmackDown up on a pedestal that it might not necessarily belong on yet, but they're definitely working towards that.
No, I mean, for me, look, I respect your opinion, but for me, they have earned it after this show. No fucking mistake about it. Do I think Lucha Underground's still king? Oh, you bet your ass. Ain't no
Yeah,
fucking
because like
touching Lucha
the
Underground.
difference to me is that Lucha Underground is extremely entertaining every week, and the last 2 episodes of SmackDown television have been average, subpar, in my opinion.
But where I'll commend them even when they're and I do agree with you, and that's why I said Lucha Underground's still king. But in WWE's universe, I think SmackDown is king because even on those average episodes,
in WWE's universe, SmackDown is king by far. I would even argue that SmackDown, over the course of the last few weeks, really since SummerSlam, has been more compelling than NXT has been since Takeover Brooklyn too.
Right. And like that's the beauty of it, because even when SmackDown has average episodes, and I agree with you, the last 2, they were just kind of there, but they stayed committed to their stories. And this is what commitment to stories gets you. Great payoffs like Backlash. This show needed to succeed. It needed to succeed for multiple reasons. If you want to look kayfabe, SmackDown needed to fire this shot at Raw because they had the burden of the first pay-per-view. If you want to look at non-kayfabe, WWE needed to prove to themselves and to their network audience that this brand split was going to work and it was a good idea. We can do this. We can succeed at this. And Backlash, again, I say this about a first anything. First, opening match on a pay-per-view, first champion. Whenever it's a first anything, it's a tone setter.
Sets the tone.
Backlash. Exactly. And Backlash set a great fucking tone tonight. Having AJ win, which was so great, and it actually works against, I know I said and I stand by, inaugural champions should be heels. They went the babyface route only because the heel gets to be the champion that really matters at the end of the day. The fucking WWE champion. And The Miz, who's still doing amazing work, don't get me wrong. But, like AJ is ruling the fucking wrestling world again right now. Beating John Cena clean after a clinic at SummerSlam, and then takes that momentum a short while later and becomes WWE fucking champion. You and I even said on live reactions, if this isn't confirmation that Vince really did want to sign AJ a decade ago, I don't know what is, because they've just given him the world. And the thing is with AJ, I know he can bear it on his back and carry it. I am so excited for his reign, dude.
Yeah, man, he's going to kill it. He's already killing it just with this title victory. Say, too, AJ Styles has now held a major championship. He is a former TNA World Champion, a former Ring of Honor World Champion, and your current WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
And IWGP Heavyweight Champion, don't forget.
Well, yeah, absolutely, but I did specify in the United States.
I apologize, because you actually did have really bad cutout, admittedly, when you were going through that, so I did not catch that part. That's my mistake. But yeah, AJ fucking decorated as all hell. This cements his career, dude. If this guy isn't a Hall of Famer, then nobody is, because he's fucking done everything. Like,
I'm surprised he's not already in the TNA Hall of Fame. They like to... Well, actually, no, I'm not, because he's a TNA original, and that might as well just disqualify you from being in the TNA Hall of Fame, because everyone that's in there is a freaking former WWE performer.
Right. Dude.
Maybe when he goes back to TNA after he leaves WWE, if that happens in the future, maybe then he'll be in their Hall of Fame, because then he'll be a former WWE performer.
Yeah, dude, the funny thing is, too, and I don't want to get cheesy, but fuck it, I'm in such a good mood tonight. Whatever. AJ's win, to me, I don't want to say inspiring or empowering, but I think I will stick with the word emotional. It was emotional for another reason too, because he was the TNA guy. Like, he's even said, like, TNA is the house that I built. Fuck Jeff Jarrett, the company I founded. Yeah, well, you may have founded it. AJ built it and gave it its foundation. Like, you want to talk about having that TNA stench. AJ was the stench. Let's be real here. And they still love him enough, and he still proved himself enough to be fucking WWE champion, which is still the title as far as I'm concerned, because the Universal title is still so new, and I fucking love Kevin Owens, but come on. It's the fucking company championship with 50 years of history, and AJ Styles can say that he is a WWE champion. It's just fucking surreal. It's absolutely surreal to think about.
Right. It is. And surreal was the word that kept on getting thrown around when AJ first showed up in WWE, and it stands true to this day, man. It's surreal. It's awesome.
Exactly. You want to talk about you deserve a chance and people that, really deserve those moments. I wouldn't be surprised if AJ was greeted this Tuesday at the start with a "you deserve a" chant. The guy is just, well, he is what he says he is, and he's phenomenal. He's got a WWE championship and a John Cena armband. Like, he is not doing bad for himself at all. And honestly,
collecting trophies from everyone who he beats in feuds.
Dude, I fucking love it. And let me say this too. If AJ's health will permit it, because this business is a very wary one, you never know when something bad might happen. I hope he goes on a monster like 7 to 9 month run, because you don't give him two huge wins like that and not commit.
He's either A, going to hold the title until WrestleMania and drop it to an up-and-coming babyface. He's going to do kind of what I think you said John Canton turn face in the middle of this run and prolong it to like at least Extreme Rules.
Which I would prefer the heel route, because AJ has really come into his own now as a heel finally. And dude, I want to just take a few steps back and extract something that you said just a few seconds ago and put it in this sentence. AJ Styles, WrestleMania 33 WWE champion. Like, everything about that sounds fucking right, dude. AJ's second WrestleMania, and he'd be WWE champion. Like, holy fuck.
AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania 33 for the WWE Championship.
Yes. Or, again, just to keep putting my idea out there, if they want to bring back old rules, Seth Rollins wins the Rumble this year. He goes to SmackDown to get a fair shot. Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. Either of those two matches I'd be so fucking cool with. Like, yes. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Dude, this match to me, easily match of the night. And it wasn't even a match necessarily that made the pay-per-view, because I feel like there was a lot of other great stuff too, as we already talked about in this review. But yeah, this match alone is just the really beautiful bow on top of this show that makes it a buy it for both of us. And that's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like the buy it mostly comes from this 3 singles championship matches on this show. This Ms. Ziggler and the 6-pack women's championship match, because the Usos were great throughout the night, but I don't think either one of their matches was really amazing to the point that I would want to pay money to see it, and Wyatt Kane was just a throwaway for me. So the 3 singles matches were buy it. The Usos and Hype Bros and the Slater Rhyno Usos matches were high search its, and then Wyatt Kane was the lowest of skip its.
And dude, you know what? I agree with everything you just said, but especially on the Usos, if those matches were high search its because of their quality heel work, I can't fucking wait for their first match with Alpha as heels.
With Alpha, I know, dude, it's gonna be great.
I'm so excited for SmackDown's direction in the next coming months. And I'll tell you this, I mean, I've never really, maybe I have said this before, but I'll say it again anyway. I feel like every pay-per-view is kind of an advertisement for the next pay-per-view. I'm already fucking looking forward to No Mercy. I am so ready for No Mercy. That is going to be such a great show.
We're going to get a lot of rematches on No Mercy. It's probably going to, we're probably going to have Ziggler and Miz and Styles and Ambrose again on No Mercy. And I'm guessing we're also going to have Alpha versus the Usos, hopefully, at No Mercy. Alternatively, it could just be the Usos versus Slater and Rhyno again in a return match. I don't know. Or I guess Alpha versus Slater and Rhyno, since Alpha never got their shot. But I definitely feel like No Mercy is going to be awesome. And I'll also say, I think that another big reason that it was important for SmackDown to kind of get over the Backlash hump is because Backlash is the first time, last time, at least until Survivor Series, that they're only going to have 3 weeks to build to a pay-per-view. Because now they've got, I think, 4, maybe even 5 weeks to build up to No Mercy. I think it's 4 weeks. And then I think there are even more closer to like 5 or 6 weeks between No Mercy and Survivor Series. So SmackDown, having gotten over the Backlash hump, it's all downhill from here, baby.
Exactly. And there was something. Oh, right. I wanted to ask you real quick, as far as the main event scene goes, how much do you want to bet, even if it's just no DQ, that the Styles-Ambrose rematch will get a step to it because of the controversy here tonight at Backlash?
You think I mean, probably just something simple like, just a hardcore match or a street fight of some kind. You know what? Let me look up where No Mercy is going to be.
All right, while you're doing that.
It might even be in Philadelphia. And if it is, it's totally going to be a Philly street fight. But I'm going to look it up just to make sure, just to confirm. Sacramento. You know what? The Sacramento street fight has a ring to it. They could probably do that.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's definitely got to have a step to it. One, because Ambrose, it's his rematch clause, so you'd have to think they'd give him some autonomy over it. And two, the screwy finish tonight that thankfully didn't lead to a throwout because the referee was distracted. But yeah, it should be good, man. I'm excited for No Mercy, even if it's just really subtitled Backlash Revenge. But it should be a good show.
Yeah, it's funny because Backlash, you normally kind of assume like it's the kind of the revenge show in and of itself, since it's called Backlash.
Right.
But it seems like No Mercy is going to be really No Mercy. I think is going to be more just kind of let's spin our wheels and get to Survivor Series. Like let's get over these feuds so that we can start new ones and get on to Survivor Series, which is the important show.
Exactly. I gotta say, man, I don't think I have anything else to say. That main event was fucking stellar, and I'm so happy. The booking was so strong on this show. It's almost hard to believe that this is a WWE production, but I'll tell you, man, Backlash is in the books. We both gave it a strong buy it, save again for that Kane Wyatt match, which was whatever, but anything else you want to say?
No, man, we've somehow managed to go for an hour on this. It's felt like maybe 20 minutes at most, but yeah, that's just a good example of how good this show was, because we're having that much fun talking about it that we lost track of time. So, ladies and gentlemen, John, I think that's you're pretty much, you don't have anything left to say, or do you want anything else in there?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
So then let's call this an episode. Let's call this a review. Let's close this thing out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday, where we will be doing Lucha Underground Season 3, Episode 2 live reactions, followed up by a TwitWow review. Actually, no. This coming Wednesday is a little bit different. This coming Wednesday, we are going to be doing Lucha Underground live reactions from 8 to 9, and then at 9 o'clock, we are going to be doing the Cruiserweight Classic live finale live reactions. And then later on after that, we will be doing our Lucha Underground TwitWow review. Thursday will be the day for our NXT review. Whether that's at 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern time is still up in the air. Probably more likely to be 9, so plan for that. And we will see you all on Wednesday for Lucha and the CWC live finale.